She collapsed in the middle of the sidewalk with a fortune in her bank account and nobody willing to stop. People stepped around her. A businessman glanced down, frowned, and kept walking. A woman in expensive heels lifted her phone and moved to the other side of the street. Two teenagers stared for a moment before disappearing into a crowded coffee shop. And then there was the janitor. He was carrying a battered mop bucket, wearing a faded gray uniform, and counting the minutes until his shift ended. But when he saw the woman lying motionless against the cold pavement, he dropped everything. He didn't know her name. He didn't know she owned half the building they stood beside. He didn't know that her face appeared on magazine covers or that people waited months for a meeting with her. He only knew one thing. Someone was in trouble. Ma'am. No response. He rushed toward her. Hey. Can you hear me? The woman's eyes fluttered, but her lips barely moved. Help. The janitor dropped to his knees. Okay. I'm here. Her breathing was shallow. He immediately called 911. Then loosened the collar of her designer coat and carefully positioned her so she could breathe more easily. Stay with me, he whispered. Please. Just stay with me. The woman tried to focus on him. For the first time in years, someone was looking at her without knowing what she could give them. And somehow, that frightened her more than the pain. Her name was Victoria Sterling. At 42, she was one of the most powerful women in the country. She had built Sterling Holdings from the small investment company her father had left behind into a corporate empire worth more than $2 billion. She owned luxury hotels, office towers, restaurants, and technology investments. She had private drivers, private doctors, private security, people who answered her calls before the phone finished ringing. But that morning, Victoria had walked away from all of them. She had been arguing with her board of directors for nearly 3 hours. They wanted her to approve another round of layoffs. 47 employees, one executive had told her. It's necessary. Victoria had stared at the list. 47 names. 47 families. Necessary for whom? She had asked. Nobody answered. The meeting ended badly. Victoria walked outside alone. She barely remembered crossing the street. Then came the crushing pain in her chest. She had tried to breathe. Tried to call her assistant. Her phone slipped from her fingers. And then the world went black. Except it wasn't completely black. There was a voice. A tired, frightened voice telling her to stay alive. My name is Daniel, the janitor said as sirens approached. You're going to be okay. Victoria looked at him. Daniel Reyes was 56 years old. He had worked as a janitor in Sterling Tower for 11 years. Victoria had passed him hundreds of times. She had never spoken to him. Not once. The ambulance arrived. Paramedics rushed over. Sir, step back. Daniel stood. I found her. She stopped breathing for a second. Are you family? No. Friend? Daniel shook his head. No. I just work here. The paramedic looked at Victoria. Does she have any medical conditions? Daniel hesitated. I don't know. Victoria suddenly grabbed his wrist. Her fingers were surprisingly strong. Don't. Daniel leaned closer. What? Don't leave. The paramedic glanced at him. Daniel looked at Victoria. I'm not going anywhere. She was loaded into the ambulance. Daniel climbed in behind her without thinking. Then he remembered his mop bucket. He looked through the ambulance doors. His bucket was sitting alone on the sidewalk. For some reason, the sight almost made him laugh. He had spent his whole life worrying about small things. Rent. Groceries. His daughter's college tuition. His old car. And now he was sitting beside a billionaire woman whose heart had nearly stopped. Life was strange. At the hospital, Victoria was rushed into emergency care. Daniel waited outside. 20 minutes became an hour. Then 2. He finally stood to leave. A doctor approached. Mr. Reyes. Daniel turned. Yes. She's stable. Daniel released a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. Good. The doctor smiled. You probably saved her life. Daniel shook his head. I just stopped. The doctor frowned. What? Daniel shrugged. I just stopped. Then he walked away. He didn't wait for praise. He didn't ask for money. He didn't even tell anyone who he had helped. But somebody else did. A security camera had captured the entire incident. By the next morning, the video was everywhere. Billionaire CEO saved by janitor. Man stops traffic to save woman's life. Hero janitor refuses reward. Victoria watched the footage from her hospital bed. She saw herself collapse. She saw people walk past. And then she saw Daniel. He ran toward her. No hesitation. No concern about his expensive clothes getting dirty. No question about whether she was important. He simply helped. Victoria stared at the screen for a long time. Her assistant, Melissa, stood beside the bed. We can arrange a statement, Melissa said. Your PR team thinks you should publicly thank him. Victoria nodded. Find him. We already did. Bring him here. Daniel arrived 2 hours later. He stood awkwardly near the hospital door. Victoria was sitting upright, wearing a hospital gown beneath a soft robe. You asked for me. Yes. Daniel looked uncomfortable. Victoria smiled. Please sit. He sat. For a few seconds, neither spoke. Finally, Victoria said, Thank you. Daniel nodded. You're welcome. I mean it. So do I. Victoria almost smiled. Then she noticed something. His shoes were worn through at the soles. His uniform had been repaired several times. You've worked at Sterling Tower for 11 years. Yes. You know who I am. Daniel gave her a strange look. I know now. Victoria laughed softly. That's not what I meant. Daniel leaned back. Before yesterday. No. I knew there was a woman named Victoria Sterling who owned the building. I didn't know what you looked like. Victoria looked down. Maybe that's better. Daniel noticed the sadness in her voice. What happened? She looked at him. What do you mean? People don't usually end up in a hospital because everything is going perfectly. Victoria stared out the window. My board wanted to fire 47 people. Daniel said nothing. I stopped them, she continued. But I've spent years becoming someone who can make decisions like that without thinking about the people behind the numbers. She swallowed. Yesterday, I realized how easily I could become one of those numbers myself. Daniel was quiet. Then he said, My wife used to say something. Victoria looked at him. What? Everybody wants to be remembered as important. But nobody remembers your title when you're gone. Victoria's eyes filled. What happened to your wife? Cancer. 6 years ago. I'm sorry. Daniel nodded. She worked in a grocery store. Never made much money. But when she died, there were so many people at her funeral that we had to open the church doors because there wasn't enough room. Victoria wiped her eyes. Why? Because she stopped for people. He smiled faintly. If somebody was hungry, she fed them. If somebody was short a few dollars, she covered it. If someone looked lonely, she talked to them. Victoria stared at him. Sounds like a good woman. She was. Daniel stood. I should let you rest. Wait. He stopped. Victoria reached for the envelope on the table. I want you to have this. Daniel looked inside. A cashier's check for $100,000. He immediately pushed it back. No. Victoria blinked. Daniel. No. You saved my life. You don't owe me for that. I'm not trying to buy what you did. Then don't put a price on it. The words hit her harder than he intended. Victoria slowly took the envelope back. Daniel walked toward the door. Then he stopped. My daughter's in college, he said. Victoria looked up. She's studying nursing. Victoria smiled. That's wonderful. Daniel nodded. She worries about the tuition. Victoria waited. Daniel turned around. If you really want to help me, don't give me money. What should I do? Give somebody else a chance. Victoria stared at him. Daniel continued. There are 47 people on that list. Maybe they don't all need to keep their jobs. But maybe some of them deserve a chance to prove they can stay. Victoria felt something break inside her. Not painfully. Something that had been locked for years. The next morning, Victoria walked into Sterling Holdings headquarters. The board was waiting. She entered without her assistant. Without her security team. And without the usual expression of absolute certainty. I've changed my mind, she said. One director sighed. Victoria, we discussed this. I know. The layoffs are necessary. Then we'll find another way. Silence. We'll freeze executive bonuses for 1 year, Victoria continued. We'll cut unnecessary expenses. We'll restructure the departments. And nobody gets fired until every alternative has been considered. That will cost millions. Victoria looked around the table. So does forgetting that people are human. The layoffs were cancelled. But Victoria didn't stop there. She created a company emergency fund for employees facing medical bills, rent crises, or family emergencies. She expanded scholarships. She personally visited the janitorial staff. And 3 months later, she walked into Daniel's daughter's nursing school graduation. Daniel stood beside his daughter, stunned. Victoria had helped establish a scholarship in his wife's name. Daniel looked at her. You didn't have to do this. Victoria smiled. I know. His daughter hugged Victoria. And for the first time in years, Victoria didn't feel like a billionaire. She felt like a person. Later that evening, Daniel and Victoria stood outside the school while families gathered around them. Victoria looked at him. You know what I remember most about that day? Daniel smiled. What? Everyone walked past me. Daniel shook his head. Not everyone. No, Victoria said softly. Not everyone. She looked toward the graduation hall. Funny, isn't it? I spent my whole life surrounded by people. And the first person who truly saw me was a man carrying a mop bucket. Daniel laughed. Life has a sense of humor. Victoria smiled. Then she became serious. Thank you for stopping. Daniel looked at her. I would do it again. I know. And that was the lesson Victoria carried with her for the rest of her life. Kindness doesn't ask how much someone is worth. It doesn't check their clothing, their bank account, their title, or their influence. Sometimes humanity is simply a decision made in a single second. To stop. To kneel beside someone who has fallen. To offer a hand. To say, I'm here. And sometimes, the person you save isn't the only one whose life changes. Sometimes, by stopping for a stranger, you remind an entire world what it means to be human.